Welcome into Boston has entered the chat. Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 16th, live inside the Salem 5 studios. George Balekji here with Kasey Hudson. We got a packed show for you guys today. We'll be going through the Fever and Sun at TD Garden. Packed crowd, sellout crowd. Cailtin Clark, what she brings to basketball, and why Boston showed they need a WNBA team as well. We'll get into some wide receivers around the league that could make New England a home because they're unhappy with their current team. And as always, get into what's trending and then some breakfast bets to end with as well. First things first, as always, Case, good morning. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. We get to talk some WNBA. We get to make a pitch, a marketing pitch I think that will crush for Boston getting a WNBA team. And then there's a few things from yesterday's show that you manifested that we get to talk about into today's show. Like, I don't know, a swing off by any chance? So
I'm just saying, like, MLB, I'm critical. I'm always going to be critical. MLB, NHL, they don't know what they're doing with their marketing. Just hire me. I'll come in, fly off the wall, say a bunch of dumb ideas, and out of the 10, one will stick.
Two will stick.
Two. All right, I appreciate you.
I'll give you two.
Say about 200. I'll take that. That's pretty average in the MLB today. All right, let's get into the WNBA. Fever at Sun last night. Fever ended up getting the win, 85-77. Cailtin Clark, not the best shooting night, but had 14 points. We saw Natasha Howard step up. We see the Fever win. Over 19,000 fans in attendance. That's what jumped out to me. You fill out TD Garden. We've seen this type of crowd draw for Fever before. It's big for the CT Sun to get that crowd, as they're a team that's tanking and one of the worst, if not the worst, in the WNBA. But this was also a night to showcase for Boston why they should get a WNBA team. It's big for the sport. It's big for the city. And I loved every second of it.
100%. And I'm glad that you kind of put an emphasis on what this means for Boston, because I know a number of fans that'll be like, well, it's the Fever rally. It's the support of the Fever. It's the fan base for the Fever. It's a little bit more than that. You're playing one of the worst teams in the WNBA right now. But just thinking of the other people that showed up because they just want to watch the WNBA as a whole. You're talking about a star-studded night from Boston Celtics players there, Jaylen Brown, George Niang. Then you also had Boston Bruins players there, and Jeremy Swayman and Mason Lori, Hall of Famer Angela, I'm going to ruin her last name, but like you just had so many great people there that are fully in support of the WNBA as a whole and just speak to the atmosphere that Boston creates and sets up for games such as this, for opportunities such as this. And I don't think that we're all screaming for a WNBA team in Boston just to check off another professional league on the list.
No, you know it's a city that can support it.
100%.
Fans will show up, they pack the crowd, they have the arena in Boston, in TD Garden. And what I think is good with the WNBA team potentially coming to Boston too, Celtics NBA season ends in June the latest. We've seen it here. We see the parades. That's when the WNBA season picks up, and it runs through September, October. And that's when the NBA season begins, November. It just coincides. This is an area that loves its basketball, is hungry for it all the time. Yeah. We saw the fans show out. Middle of the summer, could be away on vacation, could be watching the All-Star game. No, they went to see, yes, it was Cailtin Clark and it's her effect, but the rest of the team. We also saw the Fever won the game 85-77. Cailtin Clark had 14 points, just 4 for 14 shooting. Left the end of the game, 40 seconds left with a groin injury. Something looked like she re-aggravated. We saw the frustration and emotions come out of her. Headbutting the stanch for the basketball, for the hoop at the end of the game, going on the bench, getting emotional. If she re-aggravates it and is away for some time, that stinks for basketball as a whole. It's better when she's on the floor. We also saw with the same thing you get with Cailtin Clark, there's a criticism on both ends.
Yeah.
There's a magnifying glass because it was at TD Garden, because it was at Boston. The same old, her being emotional, talking to the refs, yelling at herself because she knew she wasn't having a good game. And what comes with Cailtin Clark and the spotlight and the praise also always comes a criticism. I mean, that's part of being the best player in the league, the biggest name in the league, being the needle. She doesn't move the needle. She is the needle. And that's what we're always going to see night in, night out.
And probably one of the best ways to refer to her, because you're talking about somebody who has shouldered a large responsibility of being a face for the WNBA from her college statistics. And if that was going to translate to the WNBA, the expectation to go to a bad team and see if she was going to be that needle, as you so well put it. So seeing as how she's kind of risen to every single test, it's sometimes the criticism could be like, are we just looking for a conversation to have on her name? So yeah, she had some heated situations go down with the refs last night, to the point where she said that certain things were unbelievable. She even told the ref to grow up at one point. So you have
grow
to
up. She
wonder.
did to come here. I wonder if the ref did this to her and then she was doing that in response.
It seemed more mocking than her just
she
trying
said
to
grow
be
up
like,
and then she did this.
Right.
I don't think she would just do that.
So
but I like the fire
there
of
was
like just
some
yelling.
mockery in it. Exactly.
You can talk to me like that, but I can't talk to you, and why? Because you're wearing striped zebra print? No.
Yep. And like we've seen other leaders players do exactly this, be very passionate, be very outspoken. And so to make it kind of there was a thread, I'm trying to make sure that I say the right thing here, thread versus tweet or X, whatever the X calls it.
Somewhere across
exactly,
social media.
but there was a thread that basically almost calls in and challenges her leadership ability.
This is from Jameel Hill.
Yeah. Cailtin Clark's behavior toward the officials and her tendency to pout when her offense isn't working has been a problem since college. She has to be a better leader, period. You're not being a hater by pointing that out. If you're going to praise Cailtin when she's great, then it's more than fair to criticize her when she falls short. Stop coddling. She doesn't need it. I don't agree with most of this.
You could fill in Cailtin Clark and replace it with Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, LeBron James, thinking of NBA parallel stars to compare it to. You don't have to coddle her. I don't think she's being coddled. I just think it's a different type of fan base that you do get with the WNBA because she's also introducing a lot of people to sports overall.
Yeah.
That's what she does. I mean, for young girls growing up that want to play basketball, like she draws them in. And I think you can get with that an audience that doesn't necessarily watch all sports, but they watch her in the WNBA, which I think is great. I'm a basketball fan. That's why I watch Cailtin Clark, and that's why I watch some WNBA games, because it's good basketball.
Yeah.
Compared to the people that don't know sports but end up watching that game, there is the saying of like there's no sacred cows. That comes from my guys over at the Sports Hub. But where in Boston, let's talk about it. You could be Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Jason Tatum, Doc Rivers, Larry Bird, whoever. Just because you're great doesn't mean we can't be critical of you.
Yeah.
So I understand the first half of that. Just saying that you don't have to coddle her, just be fair and all that. But that's what it comes in with the spotlight of.
Right.
People have to point out some flaws in her. They feel the need to break her down a little bit.
Yeah.
As much as we're pumping her up. But I put her on that pedestal because she's great. She set the WNBA record for assists, not rookie record, the league record for assists last season. What she was doing last night, it wasn't the deep, splashy threes. It was her getting blitzed, finding openings, and setting her teammates up for dimes.
Yeah.
Her passing and her basketball IQ was showing off last night, along with some really good finishes around the rim. This is also where the WNBA hasn't seen an average viewing audience of 1 million viewers since 2008. Last year, they had 23 games average that audience. She played in 20 of them.
Right.
She brings the attention. She also brings the game. And with it will come the criticism.
100%. And the criticism just has to be viable because you can't sit there and say, don't coddle her, be a better leader. But look at the names that you just mentioned. Great leaders that are very passionate because of their craft.
Yeah, to take a shot at the leadership.
Yeah, like you're also talking about somebody who, go back to her game for a second.
Yeah.
She has been able to do things differently with her game when need be. So if she's not going to be putting up splashy threes, or if she's not 100%, then she's making sure she's loading up in the assist column. Or the other night versus the Dallas Wings, she had a massive defensive game that really helped her team.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're talking about going against bad teams here, but regardless, she turns into whatever her team needs in the moment, and that speaks to leadership. Also, half of these conversations that she's piping off about with these referees, they're not always in defense of herself. They're in defense of her teammates. That's her going to bat for the other women that she's playing alongside of night in and night out, or when she can't be there because of injury, hence the frustration. So you can't take passion and criticize passion and put it in one category of its own and then call it coddling for one and then, oh, be a better leader for two. She's shown leadership. When she's sitting there celebrating the championship that her and her team just won the other day, what is she saying? Why are we getting more money for this kind of championship versus the WNBA final? She's speaking and calling attention to things that don't just affect her, but affects the WNBA as a whole. So where is this dig at leadership? That's what I thought was just over the top. And then the coddling. All right, we talked about on a respect her game. This is a woman that kind of needs enforcers playing alongside of her because sometimes people are just taking to her because
that's why they brought in Sophie Cunningham.
We
saw the kung fu grip she did a couple of weeks back on that teammate that had a dirty foul on her.
Right, right.
That's why, like, Aaliyah Boston serves as that. And that's a good player that's playing off of her.
AB had to defend her in the beginning of the season.
Exactly, but Sophie Cunningham steps in too, and that's another player that doesn't care. Like, Cailtin Clark doesn't care. She doesn't step down. She doesn't get intimidated by anyone. That's part of what I love about her game, and she also understands the responsibilities she has. She's the face of the league. She knows that.
Right.
And she speaks out to your point. Why are we making so much money off a middle of the season tournament?
Yeah.
Why are we underpaid? And that is issues with the WNBA and the CBA and the agreement that they made, but that's coming up soon. But there are the trailblazers, like a Cailtin Clark, and there are the trailblazers before her, like a Breanna Stewart, that started the three-on-three league with WNBA players, paying them more than what the WNBA offers. There are the other avenues. Cailtin Clark can do whatever she wants. She's bigger than the WNBA. She's bigger than basketball in a way. And that's when she enters the echelon of like a Steph Curry, a LeBron conversation. And the great players in the league, like an Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier, her profile is just so much bigger than anybody else that's been in this league. That's the difference.
Yeah, and that's where I think that you kind of have to separate, give criticism where criticism is due, but don't just look for a reason to criticize.
Yeah.
That's my biggest takeaway from it.
What did jump out, though, is that the players are coming around. There was the Athletic polls, an anonymous poll, and it said, who will be the face of the WNBA in 5 years? The top 3 vote getters. Cailtin Clark got 54% of the vote. She's not even in her second full season. Juju Watkins, who is still in college, got 18%.
That's shocking.
Then Paige Beckers, who's a rookie right now with Dallas, got 14% of the vote. The players around the league know and understand Cailtin Clark's greatness.
Yeah.
There are the people that will speak out, like Candace Parker saying, she's not on that top tier yet as a player. But she was basing that off of her accolades, going like Asia Wilson's multi-MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, multi-champion. She's top tier. Nafisa Collier is a top-tier player. She's like, Cailtin Clark's just underneath her. But there are the players now, and like the greats, like a Candace Parker that came before her, that are seeing the greatness. Her rookie season was everyone trying to break down and bring down what she said. Like when she got Times Athlete of the Year, the owner of the Washington Mystics saying, well, you know, it should be the whole league. Well, the Washington Mystics had 14 wins last year. They went 14-26, right?
Right.
And the season ended with the Mystics hosting the Fever. And they broke an attendance record in that arena.
Right.
Because of Cailtin Clark. Your league's directly benefiting because of her game, how big of a star she is, and she already is a face of the league, and she surely will be in 5 years. There are the people that get amplified that are just the naysayers and the haters, but then there are the people that add to that. And there's the anonymous votes in The Athletic. There's Candace Parker that actually backs it up with something in a way of, look, she's not there yet, but she's on her way. And I think those are the ones to focus on.
Yeah, and I think something else that the article laid out so well is that it doesn't always come down to the play. So that kind of does negate what Candace Parker was trying to say in terms of her game isn't there yet, because you also have to talk about the marketing aspect, the branding aspect. You know, she's going to encourage more people, more fans to want to watch, and you'll see her fans go off in any sort of comment or space that they have the opportunity to say, hey, we've been here since day one at Iowa. And her fan base went beyond Iowa because everyone was just so encouraged to watch what she was going to do in college. It started to light the match and bring the spark to people hyper-focusing on college basketball for women. So I think that's what also kind of amplified Juju in that conversation. I will be honest, I think that if we're going to talk about skill, if we're going to talk about magnifying glass as well as marketing and branding and all that and so forth, then Angel Reese probably needs to be a little bit higher in that as well. I would almost keep it as close to her being right underneath Cailtin Clark, because you're talking about somebody that battled injuries on a bad team herself, still making an impact, hosting a podcast. So there's a lockstep there in terms of drawing attention to the sport overall. But you're just talking about somebody who does it and has a fan base that's a little bit more intense and bought in and more passionate, and that's just going to help as a whole. So it's well deserved.
When Juju returns from injury, when she's eventually in the WNBA.
And we could be looking at 2 years' time.
Yeah, but that's a skill set. And this was a poll in 5 years, right? Like Angel Reese, definitely a bigger name than Juju Watkins right now. When she enters the league, that's when it'll get interesting. That is, I watch her game and I like it. It's a lot more efficient. That is a James Harden skill set on a basketball floor, or a Jason Tatum type skill set on a basketball floor. That's what Juju Watkins brings. Never picks up her dribble, is so dangerous from all over the floor. Same thing of a Cailtin Clark, can do it with passing, obviously with scoring, super athletic. That to me though will, and that's where I do agree with this poll in 5 years, it will be Cailtin Clark against Juju Watkins. And look, just because it's not Clark versus Angel Reese doesn't mean Angel Reese is any less than.
Yeah.
She's still one of the top names in the league, one of the top names in all basketball. She just got the cover of 2K. This is a good place for the league to be. The fact that we can enter an argument where it's more than 2 players, but it could go 10 deep. We haven't brought up Sabrina Ionescu, who is great at Oregon, has been great with the Liberty. We haven't brought up Brianna Stewart, what she's done. Like, that's where this league is headed, and that's a good thing. Along with the expansion of possibly, instead of going from being trapped in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, a WNBA team being in Boston, filling out TD Garden, that's a continued growth of the league. And that's where it gets to Cailtin Clark pointing out, why are we winning so much for a regular season tournament and we get more of a bonus than what we get winning the actual entire WNBA championship? That's when those conversations will shift to, we won the WNBA championship, and this is what it did for the league.
100%.
And it's getting to a good place.
Yeah, and I think getting a team here in Boston will help support that, and it seems like all the women in the WNBA are in full support of it.
Real quick, I'm putting you on the spot. And I love asking a question where I don't know an answer. It's a Connecticut Sun. It comes to Boston. Is it the Boston Sun? What's the Boston WNBA team name?
Oh, I can't think of a name, but I don't want it to be the Sun.
You don't want to stick with
No,
the Sun.
Boston Sun doesn't feel like it hits.
Fleet, Celtics,
got Legacy.
Patriots, Red Sox, Legacy, Revs, Bruins.
It's got to tie into the patriotic.
Oh, Bruins doesn't. Red Sox don't. We'll find it.
Yeah.
Leave us a voicemail, 617-790-0928. What would you name the WNBA team in Boston? Or email us or tweet at us using the hashtag NESSONChat. Email us, thechat@nesson.com. Leave us a voicemail, 617-790-0928. I'll try and think of one during the commercial break.
Yeah,
I'll have one on the other side. And when we're back, we'll talk wide receivers that could be playing for the Patriots next season, too. I want to say Boston Light, like a lighthouse, but that's corny. So I'll keep working on it.
Oh, at least you came up with something. I sat here Googling and came up with nothing.
Boston Light, it kind of plays off the sun. We're in East Coast City. Sun rises in the east. Catch that view. I'm just trying here. Again, leave us a voicemail, 617-790-0928. What you would name the WNBA team coming to Boston. Also, that same number, 617-790-0928. What wide receiver would you prefer come to New England? Terry McLauring or Jauan Jennings? And you have to trade and pay both. But let's start right there. Terry McLauring, 6 seasons with the Commanders, entering year 7 in the league.
Yep.
A guy that's about to turn 30 coming up in September. 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Coming off a career best in receiving touchdowns. That was second in the NFL. Wants to get paid. Now, not too long ago, he got a contract and extension, $53 million guaranteed.
Yep.
He is turning 29. That's the snag. He likely wants $55 to $60 million guaranteed in that ballpark because of his production. But he's unhappy right now. Would you like Terry McLaurin or Jauan Jennings? And I'll put you on the spot. Pick one in a Patriots uniform. You got to prioritize. Let's go with that.
If I have to pick one, it's scary Terry for me. But
That's a
I
no
felt
doubt.
like just to give Jennings a little bit of love, because you and I have actually talked about red zone, third down situations when it comes to the Patriots. That is a guy that would be very keen in helping out in that category. But I choose Scary Terry because you're adding in that deep threat where there's so many question marks in this wide receiving room, and you need that versatility, you need that accountability, and you would get that in a player as such. He has the veteran presence, he'll have a different kind of leadership voice. He'd be able to really kind of elevate Drake May's game to take that sophomore step that we're looking so closely at. And then you're also talking about someone who really helped a rookie in Jaden Daniels. So just consider how much of a help he can be to a Drake May and a system that's built for efficient offense. Mm-hmm. So I feel like between rhythm, cadence, skill set, the contested catches, all of these things, and being a viable deep threat for this team that can't really put their finger on one quite yet, it's just going to help this team really kind of solidify the argument of winning 7, 8, 9 games.
Look, if you want to trade for a Terry McLaurin, it'll cost you a second-round pick, I think, for the Patriots, and it's worth it. You're going to get 3 to 4 years of a highly productive receiver. Mm-hmm. That's what you hope to get with a second-round pick, let alone a day 2, day 3 pick. Yes, you'd have to pay him. You have the cap space. Now, they might try to roll it over, right? And that's a whole different conversation. Christian Gonzalez is coming up to get paid.
Yeah.
We know that Drake May, after that, will be coming up to get paid. They've had their issues with past drafts, but there are other picks that they've gotten as well that have to get paid. But those are the 2 top billing guys. But a Terry McLaurin, what he adds on the field, and he times out with the window of the rebuild. Mm-hmm. Again, he will be good for the next 3 to 4 years. In 2 to 3 years, that's when you're back to being legit contenders. And what he could pour into the development of Drake May, along with the Kyle Williams, he complements a receiving room. Kyle Williams is good underneath or downfield, but Stephon Diggs, Jalen Poole, Kendrick Bourne, Demario Douglas, all short yardage to medium depth of field receivers. Terry McLaurin's down the field, outside the numbers, outside the hashes. Mm-hmm. For an undersized guy, he's good at contested catches, is a dog in run blocks. He checks every box to be a Patriots receiver. He makes so much sense. And listen to him here. So he had a commercial shoot in the D.C. area yesterday, and he spoke with reporters as this contract negotiation continues, but it doesn't sound much like a negotiation. Check it out right here.
It has been disappointing. Going into this offseason, I thought there was going to be more progress. And, I know those discussions were there at the beginning. And, since OTAs and minicamp, we haven't had any discussions. We haven't talked at all. And, that's tough, obviously with camp coming around the corner. And so I haven't thought that far yet to really see what's next in the standpoint of leaving or not, because I want to be here. I want to make that abundantly clear. Like, I really appreciate this fan base, this city. This place has become my home. I've poured a lot of myself and given everything that I can every single day since I've been here, through the wins, losses, good, bad. And, you know, at the end of the day, you do want to feel valued and you do want to feel appreciated. And I think, you know, how the market is today, it pretty much that conveys what guys of my caliber are deserving of. And I feel like I fit that in that box because just how I've always carried myself on and off the field and the value I know I bring to a team. And I know I bring to my teammates, and I know that I bring to an organization. And, you know, I don't want to put myself in a position to feel like you have to beg for somebody to see your worth and your value. You feel like you've put that out there year in, year out. You know what I mean? Everything, previous regimes, and even now, you know what I mean? I've done everything that's been asked of me. I'm not perfect at all. I've definitely made mistakes, but I've always led with the right foot. And I've tried to put myself in a position to be a person that can be valued and respected amongst his coaches and his teammates, but also be a dog on the field. I don't want to get that mistaken. I feel like I'm one of the best receivers in this league.
So you hear it right there. I like that. He was like, I'm expecting more progress. And what he shared further on, too, is like, it takes two to tango.
Right.
And I'm looking for my dance partner, and they're just not calling. They are approaching training camp. And Terry McLauring said, too, he's like, I love it here. I don't want to leave. But he wants to get paid. Yeah. He knows how important he is to this team. He understands the window they're in. And for someone that was a great receiver at Ohio State, has been fantastic since he entered the league, since his rookie season, hasn't missed a game since 2020, is the team captain, and shows up every season and produces as one of the top receivers in the league. Yes, he's going to be 30 this upcoming season. But you want these guys to get paid. I understand it. You put your body on line. It's a violent game. He got $53 million guaranteed. I'm totally with him getting another 55 to 60 because he's put his literal body and life on the line playing for the Commanders. He wants that appreciation back.
Yeah.
And he said it too. He's like, you know, I hear every day my value, what I mean to this team. Everyone says it. Cool. That's awesome. Eventually, there is a number to put next to that value.
Yeah.
And Terry McLaurin wants that, and I understand it.
Yeah, eventually the compliments are not enough. And when you've got a legend such as Jerry Rice running around saying that you are an intangible, you want that to reflect in the contract and in the contract negotiations. And there was actually an article that tried to make it seem as if his agent could be part of the factor in this stalemate situation that's taking place. But I don't think that's the case. You and I actually just talked about Garrett Wilson getting paid by the Jets the other day and how that's going to shift the market and what the timeline on that market shift is going to be. Well, you're talking about very crucial timing in terms of like them announcing the pay that Wilson's getting, and then you're looking at Terry being in this standoff with the Washington Commanders, while there's other teams that are like, hey, we see your value and we can actually put a number to that value and move this process along much quicker. So the other thing that I'd point out is that Kay Adams on her show was mentioning the fact that there are texts going about rumor trades, potentially maybe the Commanders shopping this guy. And if that's also something that's taking place, if I say, then if I'm him, I want to talk to other teams and move on, because then you're just talking about another discredit to the value that they like to compliment you with verbally, but can't get sorted and situated. And I feel like he was a huge pillar in what this team did well last year. We already talked about that, him and Jaden Daniels. But to be in this late in the summer, I think that it would be hopeful to think that there's probably a team that's going to show his value a little bit quicker.
I like that you point out to Jerry Rice when he says the intangible, because how can we talk about when you put numbers and you put a value in it? Intangibles matter in a locker room. It matters in sports. It matters in any teammate type setting you have. It could be a normal job. It could be in professional sports. The intangibles do matter, the type of leader you are. You talk to people in D.C. and you talk to people around the league, it is known not just how revered, respected, loved he is in that locker room, but how much of a quality human being he is. And again, so I'm looking at this from the Patriots' perspective. If I'm Mike Vrabel and everything I talk about is culture, respecting the team, how much that matters, the leaders you have, not just the coaches, but the players, Terry McLaurin is a guy I'm banging the door down. And I'm fighting to make the numbers make sense to get him in the building in one Patriot place. That would be a day 2 pick, second or third rounder. That would likely be players as well. You'd have to move someone good, maybe like a Kendrick Bourne, right? And maybe someone younger like a Demario Douglas. But if you believe in a Jalen Polk, if you believe in a Stephon Diggs, you wouldn't miss those guys. Because again, it's building the best room possible. It would be moving pieces like that. Maybe someone on the defensive side, someone young and promising. But this offense needs help at receiver. And again, when you're establishing a culture as a first-year head coach, this is the stuff that matters.
Oh, 100%. And I think that something to add to the intangible conversation of it is the way that him and Drake May can kind of bring this offense even further than up to speed. And I think that just because of all the things that he's gone through in Washington, the different head coaches, the different identities, all of these things, you know, he could be a quality voice and being such an impactful player and making sure that he finds the rhythm that's going to make this team successful with a Drake May. And another reason I lean towards Terry over this is, like, you're talking about a Drake May that's been compared to Josh Allen and a few other quarterbacks, but let's just say that the ceiling's quite high for where he should land within his career. And he's kind of in that top 15, top 20 conversation of having a quality release on the ball. And you also want to make sure that he has weapons that can match that. I know we talk so much about tempo, but I'm kind of bouncing off the conversation you and I had on Foxborough Rush. And if you were to kind of go with a Jennings, you're talking about a slower receiver, even though he is impactful, but somebody who probably might take more time to find a rhythm with a Drake May. So that's something else where you've got McLauring that has an edge here in the conversation. And then, of course, I geeked out and I was like, well, what do his numbers look like to make sure that this whole Patriots can dance at that number 2 spot of the AFC East? Well, he's somebody that can help that jump off the page a little bit further. He has had 100-plus yard performances versus each team through 2 games for the most part within the AFC East, showing how quickly he'd be able to produce. Exactly.
And this is, Jauan Jennings would be a wide receiver 2 at best on most offenses. He has one good year.
Right.
And this was this past season. 77 catches, 975 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. Big body, 6'3", 212. Plays like Anquan Bolden. Is 2 years younger, right? So that's in favor of the Patriots. Would cost less with a contract and a trade. He'd be, I think, a 4th-round pick, and then you got to pay him. Maybe a 3rd, maybe a future 3rd. We'll go with that. Terry McLaurin, though, that's a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
That's an elite number 1 guy that forces offensive coordinators to game plan around.
Yes.
Patriots don't have that. They were in the market, and they were pushing, apparently, to get DK Metcalf, right? They end up going to Pittsburgh, and in return, obviously, Seahawks got a worse draft pick. And, you know, Pittsburgh Steelers had not a quarterback in their spot, not as many syllables as Massachusetts. Weather isn't as good. I don't want to get into all that. But if they're in pursuit of Jauan Jennings, you have to be in pursuit of Terry McLaurin because he's a better receiver.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, if you're in pursuit of DK Metcalf, you have to be in pursuit of Terry McLaurin. He's a better receiver than DK. May not look it on the field like DK Metcalf is a specimen, but Terry McLaurin, all-around receiver, is great. If Terry McLaurin's not moving, and if the 49ers are in a stalemate with a Jauan Jennings, you have to pick up the phone. The 49ers need to figure out their cap space. They need draft capital. They're doing that soft reset like we saw the Bills do this last season. Jauan Jennings, again, is a guy, good run blocker, good downfield receiver, good possession receiver, smart, and playing in a West Coast offense like in San Fran, he would make an immediate impact for the New England Patriots, and he does elevate the offense. Not as fun of a name as Terry McLaurin, but elevates this offense.
Yeah, I think either way you're going to help elevate this wide receiving room because I feel like for the most part you look at it and nothing really jumps off and screams, oh my gosh, this is going to be very competitive.
Yeah.
But there's some hope in what Stefon Diggs could be when he returns and what some of these young guys could be. And we love the underdog narrative, especially when it comes to Patriot football, because they've done so well with it. But I think just having that instant accountability in a wide receiver is something that you just want to make sure you have moving forward because the narrative is there for everything else. The hope, the excitement around Mike Vrabel and this entire team moving forward. Having that wide receiver you know you can 100% count on for the most part, that's the next big jump I think this team needs. Wait, so I didn't ask you.
Terry McLaurin's number 1. Then you go Jauan Jennings, number 2. I think they do need to add a receiver in some avenue. But it could also be they, again, go with their timeline and they do the slow rebuilds, continue to pour draft assets into it. Because I always compare it, the Minnesota Vikings with Jalen Naylor, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. It's 3 different drafts. They built out the receiving room.
Right.
Cincinnati Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Osavashi. Because you still wait to be see if he pans out. 3 different drafts.
Yeah.
Houston Texans, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Different drafts. You go around the league, all these teams, it's different drafts where they built out their team.
Yeah.
And that all adds up eventually. You have to do it that way. But right now, the Patriots are not in a place where they can rely on the draft alone. They need to go out and add talent now. And when you get a guy like Terry McLaurin in your building, he doesn't just help a Kyle Williams, but he helps a fill in the blank down the road. The next rookie receiver you bring in, mentoring them and teaching them the game. That's what matters. And again, that's where it comes in the intangibles, as Jerry Rice says, as Mike Vrabel says, that's when it matters. So we'll see. 2nd round pick, pay him, I would do it in a heartbeat.
A heartbeat.
Scary Terry McLaurin with Drake May. He looked good in a Patriots uniform, too.
He would, and he'd be celebrated here.
Did you come up with a team name yet or no?
No, I tried to keep looking, and I was just so bad at it. Like,
Give me one. Just give me. Light is bad. I'll own it. Light is bad, but I'm throwing one out there.
I stumbled upon like old PWHL names that could have came about. Boston Force and Boston Beacon jumped out.
Not Beacon. Force isn't bad, though. I like Force.
Okay.
We'll take a break here on Boston has entered the chat. When we're back, we'll be going around what's trending, and then later on, we got breakfast bets, NFL futures for you guys. Stay tuned right here on Boston has entered the chat. Yeah, Beacon's too corny.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. As we always like to do, we get into what's trending around sports, but also make sure you can join the conversation. 617-790-0928. That's 617-790-0928. Let us know what you think around all Boston sports, and we'll start with the All-Star game. Ended with the swing off, which I loved. Very polarizing when you look online, but the NL ends up getting the win thanks to the heroics of Kyle Schwarber. A walk-off, swing-off. Game is tied at 6. They don't want to tax the pitching. All-Star game means nothing. It doesn't determine home field in the World Series anymore. Players are opting out. Have as much fun as possible. Schwarber with 3 swings, knew what he was doing, walked it off as the final hitter in a home run derby-esque setting. I loved it. And now we're also seeing, hey, Fenway, and we know this is nothing new.
Ooh, yeah.
Fenway, Boston continues to make a push to bring the All-Star game back to Boston, first time since 1999.
I think it's like far past due. I mean, how do you not have one of the most legendary parks in a consistent
It's
rotation?
the cathedral.
Right.
It's the Church of Baseball.
Oh, there you go. That's such a great way to put that.
That's Fenway Park. Mm-hmm. It is, you walk in, you feel the history. And with it even being so updated and so far removed from what it looked like in 1999,
right.
It still is the essence of baseball. It looked great in Atlanta. I loved it there. It'll look great in Fenway. The soonest they can host is 2028, but we also see that Major League players and Major League Baseball is pushing for San Francisco to host it in 2028. This one is contingent on players participating in the Olympics in 2028. Now, at first I was like, why are we intertwining the Olympics, players playing, and giving it to a city? It makes more sense that the MLBPA is pushing for this, that if they play in the Olympics and participate, they want it in San Francisco, basically a West Coast destination for the All-Star game,
travel.
In order for it to be easier travel from the Olympics in LA right to the All-Star game, keeping it all on one coast, because that will be a lot of baseball at once.
Yeah.
You want the All-Star game every year. If it's stepping on the Olympics and you want baseball to be big in the Olympics, here's where I go with this one. The All-Star game doesn't matter. Major League Baseball lost it. You can do the home run derby, you can do some festivities, that's fine. Put the Major League Baseball players in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And get rid of the All-Star game. What did we see? We saw 4 nations happen without an All-Star game for the NHL. Major League Baseball, just be smart by the players and just wait till 2029 for a host city.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to determine a city based off Olympic participation, then just focus on the Olympics that year.
100%. And you want to give the Olympics all of the direct focus. Like you said, if you're going to take it seriously and giving MLB their platform within it, or, professional players their platform within it, don't try to spread it too thin, because then also what you said, you've got players that are opting out of these all-star games and whatnot. So if you just kind of overload the whole situation and make it too complex, then you're not going to get the number of players that you want in participation, or you're not going to get the focus where you actually need it. So I like it to just be specific to the Olympics, but then also you saw a lot of tweets and a lot of reactions to Atlanta's always been a great host city for all sorts of events when it comes to professional sports, but people don't really love hanging out in Atlanta all the time. I feel like people
I've never been. I've just been stuck in the airport. And the airport
well, that's the other
stinks.
thing. Half of us are traumatized from certain flights that always have to delay in Atlanta for forever and ever. But, you've got a number of people that do want to kind of see more of Boston, or be a part of the sports culture of Boston. So I feel like, coming again to one of the most iconic parks that you can go to, you're going to get a little bit more of a rally and an excitement behind it, because I feel like Atlanta just kind of is consistently overused in that professional aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it looked great. I loved it being there. It's, again, if you bring it to a place like Fenway, it's the history of the game and the setting, and the city has not hosted it since 1999.
Yeah.
You want to bring back the spectacle and you want to bring eyes back to the All-Star game, you have to go and rely on the top ballparks across the league. And that is, as I bring up, don't determine it because of the Olympics, but that is San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, even Cincinnati. Terrific ballpark, more underrated, one of the most underrated across the entire league. But focus on the ballparks like that.
Yeah.
Go where it is best. That's what Atlanta provides too. Focus on what makes the best baseball and a way to bring eyes back to it. And of course, I'm biased. I want it at Fenway. It's the best ballpark in Major League Baseball, in my opinion. I absolutely love Fenway.
We're not far from it.
All-star game there would be great. All right, so good and bad why we're talking about Bill Belichick. It's good because it's nothing that was well, no, it was posted on social media. Look, guys, you determine it here. Play right here. Here's the latest on
There's really no great way
Jordy.
to set it up.
Bill and Jordy hanging out, having a good time, relaxing in a park. Watch a video right here.
Punch buggy, no punch back.
What? Oh.
Punch buggy, no punch back.
This is just
Punch
like,
buggy, no punch back.
it sounds like a robot Bill
Punch
Belichick is
buggy,
doing it.
no punch
Coincidentally, you're rolling on this.
Punch
That's
buggy,
what I'm
no
thinking.
punch
Like,
back.
Look at the view.
Oh.
Just enjoy
Punch
it. Don't
buggy,
post.
punch
Just hang out.
Oh.
This is,
buggy,
I don't know,
no
Nantucket?
punch
I don't know
back.
where they are.
Oh.
It's also, with Bill's audio being so good, you know he's wearing that lav wireless mic that social media influencers wear.
right.
This is so staged, and this goes with everything. Just stop. You are the most successful football coach in the history of the sport. You're Jordan Hudson, and you're dating the most successful football coach in the history of the sport.
You've tainted the headlines enough.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just enjoy life. You don't have to post on social media. We don't care. And I watch this, and I cringe.
Well, the other part that's so weird about it is I'm in my 30s. I haven't heard or seen anybody punch buggy, no punch back in years.
Great point.
She's younger than us.
There's no
so
cars.
Why? Yeah,
There are no cars.
yeah.
Where they
you're
are.
looking
It's a
you're looking
park
at
and there's
boats.
water.
You're looking at boats. So why is that a thing? What were you trying to
Can
corral?
we play
with
one more
that?
time? Don't do the audio though. I don't want
Can
the
we
audio.
turn that
If we can dub that down.
Yeah.
But play the video one more time. Let's do a little investigative reporting. And if the audio's in it, it's fine. Our director Greg, I'm putting the pressure on him.
Oh.
Punch buggy,
All right,
no
maybe there's a road down there.
Oh.
I think.
No, it looks like an extended, a wide sidewalk.
buggy.
Because you're on the water. It looks like a wide sidewalk of a walking and biking path, and then it's boats.
There are beautiful boats. It's water, which is my favorite view in the world. Just any body of water. Could be a pond, could be a lake, could be the ocean, could be a creek. I do not care. I'll stare at it. It's this being staged. It's.
You'd be present with your person in this moment, one would hope. Like I said, my biggest thing is she's younger than us. That was a thing that was just over the top in the 90s.
How
It
old
was
is
a
he?
fun way to break
73?
the ice with friends. But then for
You
this
just
to
do it
randomly
when you're
pop up in a
bored.
park,
When you're bored in a long road trip, you do the punch buggy BS. It breaks the silence.
You're
They're
looking at
probably-
cars.
What do they talk about? They are so bored that they have to break the silence with that.
yeah, and record it on top.
He's
of it.
73. She's 24, 20. Staged. Too. It's not the coincidental. It's
Oh my gosh,
just look at that view. Just focus on that. This is the best video right here. Water, calm.
dogs, boats.
Yeah. That's all I need. I don't need Bill Belichick punching you in the leg and it being staged. All right, so let's go back to the All-Star game. The NL
Cringe
won
fest
last
over.
night's All-Star game. First ever swing off to decide the winner.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about this, it's the most Major League Baseball thing ever where Cal Raleigh advanced against Brent Rooker
Mm-hmm.
by distance. Distance, right? Coincidentally beat him by a half foot. That could have been a swing off in the home run derby. They don't do that.
That's
they
what you asked for yesterday.
they
You
bring out the
manifested
measuring
this.
tape. And then the All-Star game, they bring out the swing off. So
Yeah.
just MLB can't get it right. Just have swing offs in both. But I love seeing this in a game setting. I thought it was absolutely electric.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Schwarber is the effing man. Just 3 nukes, because all they had was 3 swings each.
Mm-hmm.
And if he got 3 home runs, that would have beat the American League, and he does that. Walks it off. I thought it was fantastic.
I think what I love about this too is that when you're looking at teams that probably aren't getting that much conversation around their season at the moment, because they're sitting in a certain positioning in the rankings, or they're just kind of getting buried in other heavier topics and headlines, you just miss the excitement around players that have the capability to do this. And that's kind of what you love about all-star opportunities and moments. And like you said, 3 opportunities, 3 ways to nail it, and then just to kind of see how the swing off kind of shifted the dictation of this as well. I think it kept everything exciting. We saw a number of fans responding to their bets tanking on this, but
Good. It's
said
an all-star game. What are you doing betting on an all-star game?
because degenerates bet on everything.
Yes, it's like betting on spring training games. What are you doing even putting out bets?
that's a
It's
horrible-
preseason, spring training, all-star games. Stop betting it.
Yeah.
But here were some of the fan tweets and the reaction too. Again, this was polarizing. Some loved it, some hated it. But you go around the league. Here's from Jeff Pasquino. One of the best rule tweaks in history. It can only happen at an all-star game. Yes. The result, one of the best moments since the natural. Fantastic finish. My only critique, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge were in the ballpark. Neither of them participated. Then here's the other side. Lame finish to what was an entertaining game. Wouldn't have bothered watching if I knew what a cheesy finish was in store. Could have spent 3 hours having my own swing off next year. Just put managers in separate dunk tanks, give everyone a ball to throw with the wrong hand. It's also an ode to the pitch clock.
Exactly.
It took 3.5 hours yesterday. There was a lot of pageantry around the game, like a Hank Aaron tribute, which I thought was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It took 3.5 hours. What did you want? It to go into extra innings?
Yeah.
They tax bullpens, they tax pitching staffs. So when the teams get back to baseball,
They're exhausted.
Exactly. Like, just think about it again. Garrett Crochet opted out. Julio Rodriguez opted out.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Crochet has been the best pitcher in baseball. Julio Rodriguez is one of the more electric players in baseball. The players understand, like, this has become a joke, and their priority is on their team now. That's fine.
Yeah.
Make it entertaining. That's what the swing off does. You want more baseball, and then you want teams to be affected by that when they get back to the actual important baseball. We have 162 games during the regular season that are played into extras. Let the All-Star game be a swing off. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just one of those opportunities to where in a sport that's so long of a season, you just get to highlight some of these other players that, like, some of their spectacular skill sets and capabilities might get a little buried here and there. That's literally what this is all about.
People are going to have an issue with it no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
And my thing, if it went to extras, cool, awesome. Hopefully it would have had a good finish.
No, I wouldn't.
I would have been pissed because you're affecting pitchers in actual baseball. It goes to swing off the entertainment factor and Kyle Schwarber stepping up. Again, my critique, Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani were there.
Mm-hmm.
You had neither of them in a swing off. That's the issue. That's what we needed. We'll take another break here on Boston and enter the chat. When we're back, we'll get into some NFL future bets. Yeah, we'll be talking futures. Mike Vrabel is Coach of the Year. Rams being Super Bowl favorites. Who wins Defensive Player of the Year? We'll get into all that coming up after the break. Welcome back to Boston and Enter the Chat. All right, Case, let's get into it. Some breakfast bets. This is what we like to do now every once in a while on Boston and Enter the Chat. Start your morning with bets. Not on an All-Star game, not on NFL preseason games, not on spring training, actual games, actual seasons. Let's get into there. I want to start with, I have to look at Super Bowl odds. And the favorites we know are always going to be up there. It's the Eagles to repeat, depending where you look.
Right.
See the Chiefs. We see the Bills up there. The Ravens as well. The one I went to, the Rams as Super Bowl champs at 22-1.
Ooh.
They continue to invest in this defensive line. They added Devontae Adams, who's still really skilled and at the peak of his game.
Right.
With Puka Nacua. Devontae Adams available, unlike what we've seen with the Cooper Kupp. They've added to the defensive line. They have Jared Verse, they have Braden Fisk, they have Kobe Turner, Apuna Ford. They go and drafted Josiah Stewart too. A Ty Hamilton who's a good run stopper. So I know I'm relying a lot on rookies and second-year guys, but it's also Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Sean McVay.
And a good offensive line with a good run game and a good receiving group. The defense needs to improve in their secondary, but they keep getting better up front. And for how good this Rams team was, how injured they were last season, they gave the Eagles a run for their money in the postseason.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the snow, maybe they win. 22-1 to bet on Matt Stafford and Sean McVay, a coach-quarterback combination I trust more than any around the league. Mm-hmm. I like that. I'll take that.
That's where you kind of hook me, because it's the fact that, like, we saw some really bad games in terms of, like, they were so close to the potential of winning it out, but, like, how can you win a football game when your quarterback has no weapons? The amount of time that was the conversation around Matthew Stafford and the Rams throughout the entire season, and then they were fully counted out of making a playoff appearance until they went on a little bit of a run there. So to get through it with game planning alone, and now you get some healthy bodies in the mix, and you've got the caliber quarterback that you have in Stafford, I don't hate it. They're always sneaky.
And think about what a Devontae Adams will do to improve Puka Nacua's game.
Yeah.
And how good Devontae Adams was.
And the chip he should have on his shoulder in this
Aaron
upcoming
Rodgers.
season.
Yeah.
Realistically.
It's the make or break year. This could be Stafford's last season. Mm-hmm. And it's more than trusting the coach-quarterback combination, but that's what puts him over the top. You could trust Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes every year, but then look at what they do. They skate by. The defense is fantastic. Yeah. Does a lot of heavy lifting. But it can only do so much. It's the defense. It's a receiving group. They have a good run game and a good offensive line. What's a bet you saw? A nice breakfast bet in the NFL.
All right. This is like a loaded breakfast bet, but you have to pop off with some fun. So I found a Gronk and Boys parlay. It's Titans over 5.5 wins.
Okay.
Commanders over 9.5 wins. And Patriots over 7.5 wins, plus 470. I thought that this was a juiced up dance for a number of reasons. Titans are kind of, now I'm not comparing the two like lockstep.
Yeah.
But Titans are being talked about in almost an equivalent conversation, almost as the Broncos were. Broncos were not expected to hit 5 wins last season. come out. Now, they had better weaponry to make that happen, better coaching to execute on.
Okay.
But you got Cam Ward in the mix. You also have him reunited with one of his wide receivers out of Miami, a guy who helped him pull through a number of comeback situations. So the yardage can be there. He has the guy that he knows is that clutch gear for him. Then he's got a couple other things. So I feel like they could finesse a little over 5.5 wins. And added enough pieces for the defense to get a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
So that's my Titans spiel. Then when it comes to the Commanders, I mean, again, you're talking about a
Jaden
team.
Daniels, it's the Commanders.
Exactly. And then you're talking about another year in that system, another year of maturity, another year just to kind of build off of what they did so well last season. Hopefully Scary Terry isn't in the mix of that, but I still wish them 9.5 wins. Then the Patriots over 7.5 wins. You and I have talked about it here. We talked about it on Rush. Like, strength of schedule, when you look at how many times they're going to be going against certain teams to where, like, if this team means business and they have the capability, strength, particularly relying on defense at the moment until we see what the wide receiving room and company looks like, or the offensive line, I still think 7.5 plus wins is very realistic for the Patriots. So plus 470, I like this.
I mean, if you get the Patriots straight up, you can find them 8.5 wins. Some is plus 110. Other books could be minus 120, depending where you shop. And that's where, like, if you go to a book like DraftKings, based in Boston, the Patriots over 8.5 wins, that's minus 120. It's a Boston-based book. There's going to be more bets coming in for the over, so obviously they got to protect themselves.
Right.
You go to FanDuel, that's plus 110 to get that over 8.5. That's what it comes down to, is what are the numbers for the win totals? And that's a Titans team. I wouldn't be shocked if their win total coming the season is 6.5. They have a tough schedule, but if it's around 6.5, okay. So you just need them to get 6 wins. So you have to have them hit the under. And the Patriots, for theirs, just would technically hit the under of the 8.5. That's where I like you go. I was also looking at MVPs. I'm going to go Joe Burrow plus 650. We know who the favorites are again. It'll be Josh Allen a repeat, Lamar Jackson as well. But this is Joe Burrow with a full Jamar Chase in the offseason, a full T. Higgins in this offseason. The offensive line did get better. The defense, very suspect.
Very suspect.
But if he continues to put up the numbers like he did last year and get them in the postseason and carry this team, that's what Josh Allen did. He had the Superman cape, and he won MVP. This defense isn't great, but the offense is stacked. He has a better supporting cast around him than Josh Allen did. Now, Josh Allen with his athleticism and his legs and James Cook, he has more to work with. But I think Joe Burrow at plus 650, I would not be shocked if he wins MVP, and it's a really good number to get him at. Better than 6-1.
I don't hate it. I just worry about all the drama with the Bengals. And then granted, if their defense just lets every team back into every game,
He's going to have to keep chucking it to win.
Yeah, which, I mean, it shouldn't discount against his performance, but I feel like somehow it still
If they
tends to
get into the
taint it a
playoffs,
little
it'd be
bit.
because of him, and that's the way I look at that.
All right. I can roll with that. Okay, so for one of mine, I have Cam Ward over 18 passing touchdowns. I'm putting a decent amount of stock in the Titans. But that just comes back down to the fact of, like, some of those narrow games that the Titans came into. You have a Will Levis that was at the helms and just made a lot of mistakes. I feel like Cam Ward, even though it's going to be his first season, he just has a different composure and cadence about him to be less chaotic and more efficient. And again, to be able to have Restrepo right there with you, lockstep, and understand your rhythm already. Timing is already the biggest aspect of quarterbacks and wide receivers being efficient and effective. So you're already kind of taking some of that learning curve out of the mix. So I think 18.5 after coming off of 39 passing touchdowns in college. And again, so many comeback wins, so many bounce back wins for this University of Miami team.
Yeah.
I think he can bring that energy to the NFL.
And it might be that same setting. And he has a deep receiving room. It's not the best, but it's Gunnar Hellman, Chigo at his tight end positions. It's Calvin Ridley as a receiver. They bring in a Tyler Lockett. They added Chimere Dike, who's good at getting separation. And the defense, we'll see how it fares. But it's a good offensive line they built around them. They want to run the ball. But we see how they invested it. And with the Brian Callahan, Jaden Daniels had 25 passing touchdowns last season. And a similar thing where they're setting up everything to be successful for the quarterback.
Right.
For him, I think Cam Ward would get 20. So that means you're going to not have to sweat that bet and to get him over 18. A little juice with a minus 132, but that means it's a smart bet in that way too. I don't mind putting $22 more up on the line to get that 100 back. When I looked at Offensive Rookie of the Year, Omarion Hampton 10-1. Now I know Ashton Ginty's favorite at plus 250. But Jim Harbaugh likes to run the ball on first down, second down, third down. If he can, he'll do it on fourth down, even with Justin Herbert. With how good that offensive line is, Omarion Hampton is built like a truck, 6'2", 225. He's a bell cow back. At 10-1, I was just looking at long shots and dogs. I really like him to get Rookie of the Year. And I think that's a Chargers team that will be better than the Raiders. And Omarion Hampton will be the main driving force behind that offense. With a great quarterback like Justin Herbert, it'll be all about Hampton. I like him at Rookie of the Year at 10-1.
And again, just think of the coaching staff there that'll help get him to that kind of success. Another lockstep that I'm a big fan of. All right, I think we only have a few minutes left, so I'm dancing between my last two.
Give me one.
All right.
Give me your favorite. Let's talk. You put Travis Hunter on there.
I did over
750 receiving yards.
750 receiving yards. But I only put that because I could literally see it be like 758 receiving yards. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about somebody
probably a
who
full-time
could,
corner, and he'll be a part-time receiver, but he could still be really good.
But he's going to be splashy when he takes those receiving plays and opportunities, in my personal opinion, which means you're looking at chunk plays coming from Travis Hunter because you know that that's somewhere that he can be reliable and accountable, and where his athleticism can come into play in a number of ways. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, depending on how these game scripts line up, we can see this guy touch right between 752 to 758.
He's a good downfield receiver, and that's Trevor Lawrence's strength to his game, too. That's what Brian Thomas Jr. brought to him. Then Travis Hunter would be complimentary. And there's someone, you hear the talk from the front office with Jacksonville, combined with Liam Cohn and how good of an offensive mind he is. Like, they see him as a weapon, and they want to tap into everything he brings. They don't want to, coddle him or anything. They want to bring everything out in Travis Hunter.
I want to play into his strengths.
And that would be him as a top receiver. I got to talk two things. Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year at 6-1.
Love that.
Not bad. If they make it to a wild card, I mean, this is a guy where the NFL is just lining up. They want the Patriots to be significant again. But it's a guy that a year away from coaching, taking over a team that's won only 4 games the last 2 years. Narratives matter when it comes to Coach of the Year, MVP, all of these yearly awards. Yes, he has Drake May. Yes, he has Josh McDaniels. But this team was a joke on offense and defense last year. They were a joke on offense the last 3 seasons. If he gets them back to being respectful and getting back into the postseason, and Drake May looks good, and they're a dominant team, I think he gets Coach of the Year. And I brought it up quick, but Patriots over 8.5 wins. Make sure you shop around. You get on the right sports book, you could get it to plus money. The schedule's very easy. They're facing rookie quarterbacks 3 weeks in a row. They'll only face an elite quarterback 4 times. That's Josh Allen twice, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. But when they face them, falls favorably as well, coming out of byes or Thursday night games, so longer prep. Really like the Patriots over 8.5 wins, especially if you could get it at plus money. All right, that's it for Breakfast Bets. That's it for Boston has entered the chat on Nesson. But as always, you know to catch us on Nesson Nation as well from 9 to 10 a.m. every Monday through Friday. George Balekji, Kasey Hudson. We'll catch you guys on Nesson Nation. As for Boston has entered the chat on Nesson, we'll see you guys same place, same time tomorrow.